She told me to pick the spoon I'd be punished with. I handed it to her with a look I'd never dared before. Then, crack. She swung, the spoon snapped, and I screamed like I was dying. She never touched me again. If you've ever been underestimated, mistreated, or just wanted justice for the way someone made you feel powerless, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most quietly satisfying acts of revenge you've ever heard. Discipline, not love. Growing up in the late 80s, punishment wasn't something that happened if you did wrong, it was part of life. Respect was taught through fear, and pain was considered the best teacher. And for me, that pain came wrapped in the frail hands of my grandmother. My parents worked long hours, Dad in construction, Mom as a nurse. That left me, a quiet kid of 8 or 9, in the care of my grandmother, who wore discipline like armor. She believed it was her sacred duty to raise a man out of me. Her weapon of choice? Wooden spoons. Not one spoon. A drawer full of them. And she made me pick my own punishment. I'd have to go to the kitchen drawer, select a spoon, and bring it back to her, then hold out my palm and wait. Sometimes I swear the waiting hurt more than the smack. She'd say it was love. I never felt that. And let me tell you, the smaller spoons? They stung worse. Thin, fast, and sharp. I learned early that the thicker ones, while scarier, spread out the pain and were slower. If I picked the wrong one, she'd take it as an insult, like I was trying to get off easy, and she'd swing harder. I became an expert in spoon psychology, a survival skill no kid should need. The glass garden. One day, everything changed. My dad loved little Zen things, rocks, moss, water features. Mom had gifted him a tiny glass terrarium, a peaceful little garden in a jar. It sat on the shelf near the TV, untouched and beautiful. And then, it was broken. I didn't do it. I swear to this day, I didn't even breathe near that thing. But when Grandma noticed the shattered glass, the damp carpet, and the empty space on the shelf, her eyes zeroed in on me. "You break it." "No. Don't lie to me, boy." "I didn't." And then I made the worst mistake possible. I got lippy. Maybe it was the injustice. Maybe I was just tired. But I snapped. I said I didn't. Her face twisted. The judgment was passed. "Go get a spoon." The sabotage. I walked to the kitchen like I always did. But this time, something was different. I wasn't afraid. I was angry. No, furious. A kid's fury, raw and desperate. I opened the drawer and saw it, a skinny, worn-out spoon. Splintered at the edge. Delicate. I had an idea. Holding each end tightly, I bent the spoon over my knee. Crack. It snapped, right down the middle. Then, carefully, I pressed the broken pieces back together. The crack wasn't visible if you weren't looking closely, and Grandma's glasses were thick enough to start a fire. I held it out to her with a dead stare. For the first time in my life, I didn't look scared. I wanted her to hit me. The spoon that snapped. She noticed the thin spoon. Her eyes narrowed. "Trying to be smart, huh?" Her tone dripped with threat. She raised her arm high, higher than usual, and whipped the spoon down toward my palm. Snap. The spoon broke in two the moment it made contact. And I screamed. Not in pain, but in performance. I wailed like she'd dislocated my shoulder. I clutched my hand, ran to my room, slammed the door, and cried into my pillow, tears of satisfaction, not pain. She didn't follow me. Guilt like a ghost. Later that night, I heard whispers. I pressed my ear against the door. It was Grandma, talking to my parents. I had no idea I'd hit him that hard. I don't know what came over me. "I'm so sorry. Christ have mercy." Her voice was trembling. She was shaken. This woman, who believed pain was love, discipline was duty, sounded broken. Afraid. They comforted her. Told her it was okay. But they never said another word about it to me. And from that day forward, she never raised a hand to me again. She never apologized. Not once. Maybe pride got in the way. Maybe guilt kept her silent. But I let her live with that guilt. For 30 years, I never told her the truth. She died believing she'd gone too far. That she'd almost really hurt me. In a way, That was my revenge. Quiet. Clean. Long-lasting. Every time she looked at me after that day, I could see it, the unspoken shame. She treated me more gently. Not kindly, but cautiously. That broken spoon became my freedom. My silent rebellion. I didn't need to scream, or fight, or run away. All it took was a crack, and a scream that wasn't real. She spent the rest of her life thinking she'd scarred me. But the truth, that was the first time I ever felt powerful. The first time I got to choose how the story ended. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. It doesn't always come in fire and fury. Sometimes it's a broken spoon, a fake scream, and decades of silence. And sometimes, that's enough. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what's the most quietly satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed or dreamed of? And of course, subscribe for more stories that prove karma doesn't always knock.